Welcome back, Wasteland Gamers. This is Popcorn Fuzz, here to show you that you don't need no cheese to solo the lanterns of Crota's End. Just a Titan, a bubble, and a desire to go Rambo. My Titan method allows you to solo it without needing to take advantage of any bugs. This method should come in handy considering Bungie's intending to fix most of the bugs that people have been using and abusing, so using this, you can actually accomplish it without having to cheat. Traditionally, as most of you probably know, the goal of this part is to run along the path of lanterns as a team to the very end where you defend a ritual circle to summon a bridge. My method has you do all this by yourself. Along the way, you'll see some of my methods to reach the end without too much struggle. Getting to the end is the hardest part, but once you actually reach the circle, that's when the fun really begins. Traditionally, as most of you probably know, the goal of this part is to run along the path of lanterns as a team to the very end where you defend a ritual circle to summon a bridge. My method has you do all this by yourself. Along the way, you'll see some of my methods to reach the end without too much struggle. Getting to the end is the hardest part, but once you actually reach the circle, that's when the fun really begins. If you're looking specifically for the build I use to complete this, feel free to just jump to the end of the video. This run, as you're about to see, is done with gear that got me enough light to be just below level 31, so you don't necessarily need to be decked out to complete this. My only disclaimer before you set out is to make sure to build as much armor and agility as possible to survive. Beyond that, utilize your grenades, bubbles, and skills to keep the thrall at bay. As you're running from lantern to lantern, your goal should always be to hang out as long as possible and get rid of all the Way of Darkness you can, but we realize sometimes that's not always possible, so at the very least, try and keep it under 2 stacks, otherwise you'll get caught in a bad position. You'll see as I come up to this lantern, I utilize my bubble to blind the thrall. This is thanks to my Titan helmet, the exotic headpiece called Helm of Saint 14, which blinds enemies who enter it. This perk is what makes this run go smoothly, especially towards the end. Once inside the bubble, you can go Rambo by punching everything in sight. This allows you to reduce the hive numbers chasing you, while also building up your energy for the next Ward of Dawn. You'll see here that when I throw my grenade at the thrall, they cower in fear of the explosion. This is why I use the magnetic grenade, because it will both seek out and attach to an enemy, as well as explode twice, taking care of as many as possible. Doing this takes care of the immediate thrall, and gives you time to recover in case your health is low. Just make sure to throw it into a crowd for the best effect. Additionally, you can use the Titan melee ability to provide you with an instant shield, though keep in mind that this takes a while to charge, so I'd recommend using this in case of emergencies as a last resort. I'll let you watch the rest of this run, then I'll be back for a bit of explanation at the end. Hey everyone, Popcorn Fuzz here again to give you the lowdown on the end of this run. I'd recommend having bubble ready to go just to ensure your success. As you reach the end, make your way over to the ritual circle to summon the bridge and pop your bubble as soon as the thralls start coming at you. If you have the Helm of Saint 14, this should be pretty straightforward. As for positioning, stand near the back of the Ward of Dawn, facing away from the bridge. Wait for the thrall to run into your bubble, then start the punching spree. At the rate that you're punching them, you should be able to build up enough energy to put up another Ward of Dawn before the last one disappears. Occasionally, the thrall will still find a way to swipe you. To combat this, keep walking in and out of the bubble as needed to rebuild the Blessing of Light shield. If you can, I'd recommend walking out, then punching your way back in. I found this to be the most productive method, as with your punch going back in, you'll automatically rebuild the shield. Keep in mind that the bubble will only protect you from the ogres as long as you keep it between you and them. So don't get too greedy and try and wait for the last one to disappear. Throw up the bubbles as soon as you get them, and this will ensure that you can win. Stick to this method until the bridge forms, and then simply run across. Some teams I've been in during this lantern run have struggled due to a lack of communication or poor coordination when moving from lantern to lantern. This method can let you carry your team without having to leave any guardians behind to act as a scapegoat. Hope you enjoyed this Wasteland gaming run of the Lanterns of Crota's End. Please subscribe and feel free to stick around for the detailed build I used to complete this run. In order to complete this, I used the Titan Defender subclass, most specifically building it as follows, using the Magnetic Grenade, using Increased Control for a little bit extra agility, using Blessing of Light to rebuild my shield as much as I can, Gift of Light, then Titan Codex 2 and 6 so I can focus on building as much armor and agility as possible, then Bastion to increase the Ward of Dawn duration, as well as Untouchable to reduce the cooldown duration of Ward of Dawn. Alright, then to go over my armor and weapons build, I used Up for Anything, then Murmur, most specifically for the lightweight perk here, which grants you an extra +2 character agility so you can buzz along those lanterns no problem. Then I used Prestige 4 just because of its increased magazine, but the key part to this entire run is to have Helm of Saint 14 because of the Starless Night here. It blinds any enemies who enter it, and that becomes key once you reach the very end part where you're supposed to defend the bridge. The rest of this gear was just what I happened to have on. It was able to get me just below level 31. If you happen to have any gear that helps with intellect specifically, I'd suggest putting that on because that just increases the or reduces the cooldown time on your Ward of Dawn so you can pop it up as many times as possible. Thanks again for sticking around. If you have any thoughts or recommendations when it comes to solo runs, feel free to leave a comment below. Please subscribe and expect some more great Destiny videos to come. This is Popcorn Fuzz, signing off.
It's pretty classy.